for the game on Saturday. He's one of the first interviews that I did where I ended up butchering something. He came on. I was doing the morning show back then as I was first in radio. And I had him on, and he was in the middle of obviously he's coaching with Georgia Tech. I get why he's in town, but I'm saying it's nothing. I didn't mean to set it up like they were giving him something. But the point would be this. I was talking to him after he had, I think it was 6 interceptions in a game against NC State, and I hung up on him by accident because I didn't know how to use the phone system at that time properly to put people on and off the air. And he was great. He came back. He called back in the middle of the interview after I'd hung up on him and said, "Hey, man, I know I had a rough day Saturday, but you don't have to hang up on me." It was fantastic. I give him credit. You talk about being nervous, thinking I had screwed the whole thing up. That was a big get for me at the time.
Well, that's where being in his mid to late 20s helped him in terms of poise. Because if that was a 19-year-old kid, you would have never heard back.
Yeah. There he was. He had already had the minor league baseball career and all that good stuff. But it was, that was a weird time. And then he went on to become an exceptional player, winning a national championship and a Heisman Trophy, obviously. And we all know about the history of quarterbacks at Florida State and where it sits. And obviously you have 3 Heisman winners, 3 national champions. It's important to have good quarterback play. And that does segue over to our current quarterback, who will not win a Heisman, but is a guy that if he plays exceptionally well over these last 5 games, could engineer the kind of run that Florida State has to have, we believe. And it's omnipresent in our thoughts these days about what's going to happen starting Saturday. These games are very, very important. And I just can't wait till we play them. I kind of ended Seminole headlines yesterday with the idea that, hey, we're talking a lot about this because it's important, but don't think it's also not exciting to be playing games that matter. When you're obsolete, when your team is sub 500 and not competing for anything, you don't get these opportunities. It's only when there are expectations that you ratchet up the intensity and the focus and have the kinds of conversations, the debates that we're having now about what they mean, what they represent. None of it's possible if you stink. None of it matters. You're just playing out the string. Well, Florida State is most certainly not, as we get set to play on Saturday against Georgia Tech, playing out the string. They're doing anything but. And that is a sign of real growth, but it's not the everything. It's not the be-all, end-all. It's just a sign that things matter now more than they did a year ago, more than they did the year before that. But you got to make do. You got to make hay. You got to find a way to win these games and get people even more excited, contributing more money, packing that stadium, exciting recruits, and taking the next step. And it starts Saturday. And I just wish it were Saturday. I in a weird way, I wish it were Friday afternoon at the CP for a little happy hour show. That's usually the moment that I can turn the corner into game weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a quick turnaround, too, from that happy hour show on Friday
night. Very quick. You and I have talked about getting old and liking noon games as opposed to night games anymore, but it's not good for a happy hour / pregame show the next morning.
It's okay. It's just fine because then there's a happy hour on a Saturday, and that's called post-game show happy hour, watching the best college football for the rest of the day. You get to see the other part of the slate. It just feels nicer when the Noles are done. It's like playing golf early in the morning. Until I got into my mid-30s, I didn't realize that, morning rounds are the way to go. These are nicer.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, even into my 20s, I'm a twilight golfer only. Didn't ever want to play in the morning. It's too early. Then when you get it done and it's around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
You got your day, baby.
There's a whole day in front of you.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's what the noon kick is. By the time you wrap up, whether you're a fan at your tailgate or you might stay in the tailgate lots because the weather's beautiful, put the TV out there.
Oh, if you've got a massive tailgate, that's what you do.
Or you're like us in the media, around the second half of the 3:30 window. All right, let's pop on the TV and see what's going on. I will have another beer. That sounds wonderful.
I can. I have no more responsibilities.
This is where the nooner is superior, sir.
Yeah, I used to hate noon games when I was a student or just even out of college early on. I hated it. Now I do like it. Now, again, we do pregame shows. We do happy hour shows. It's not always great to be popping up first thing on a Saturday morning to go work, but yes.
You'd be up early anyway, though.
I would. I'd be more rested, though.
And you don't have to wait all day for the game. That's the other thing.
You're right.
It's excruciating. This whole year has been one big night kick. I'm glad we got a nooner mixed in there somewhere.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a game this Saturday's game that I really am excited about the way that I think they're going to play. I think they're going to play well. I really do. The more the week has gone on, I couldn't get a feel for that Clemson game. I told you about that. I kept thinking, well, I picked Clemson to beat us, and I couldn't get a sense either foreboding or optimistic either way. I just couldn't. I was on neither side of the fence. I was just kind of cold, calculated, straightforward. They've got better players. They're going to win. But that was all. Normally, I've got an emotional attachment in a way, one way or the other. Like, oh man, I'm really excited about what we're going to see, or oh man, I'm really worried about what we're going to see. This week, as the week has gone on, I'm really excited about what we're going to see. And they should be in a good place. Their head should be in a good place. Physically, they're better off than they've been in a while. They're getting good news each day, it seems like. So I feel like they should come out guns a-blazing here, feeling good about themselves and ready to prove something. This you're embarking on a run now is what, and obviously you want it to be a successful run, but you're embarking on a run, an important run, and you have a chance to prove yourself. Opportunities abound here.
Yeah, the tough part is for, 10 days or so, you had larger goals that you never expected to be on the table that were sitting there before you. Big stakes, big time stakes, Atlantic Division. And if you get to Charlotte to play in the ACC championship game, are you really afraid of the Coastal? Like, those kinds of things were legitimate talking points. That's now off the table because you couldn't win any one of those 3 games. Frustrating. But it's not like there are no stakes. We've played a lot of years in a row now where late October and early November is going through the motions season. This is not going through the motions season.
No.
This is go time.
Yeah, it's about time too, man. I hate going through the motion season. Well, what happens is it draws your attention away from the program you love. Now, we're not a completely objective media guys here. We never. You're wearing a Florida State hat right now. I guess I am too. That's abundantly clear. Now we're capable of being that. We can call for firings and tell you somebody stinks or whatever it might be, but we want Florida State to win. Both of us do. And I don't like playing meaningless games when you have high expectations. And so whenever that's happened, what that's done is it's drawn my attention away to other things. I've ended up concentrating on the World Series or hockey or something else completely because they haven't mattered. And that's frustrating. And I'm about to sneeze, so turn my mic off.
Well, here's the important thing, though, is you can focus on this team.
There we go.
Right now. Because in your post-sneeze world, and welcome back to the world.
That was quick.
The next 3 years are going to be highly influenced, I think. I think you agree, by what we see in the next month.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I said to Ira yesterday that at some point when we were going through the hodgepodge of coaches and stuff, I stopped personally caring about them, and I just observed them. And that's the way it's supposed to be anyhow. But you can't help it when you meet people, when you talk to people, and you interview people, that at some point you have a relationship. You're not necessarily friends. Like, I was never friends with Jimbo. I was never friends with Willie, and I'm not friends with Mike. But you get to know who they are. You get glimpses of who they are, the good, the bad, and everything in between. That's all of us. We all have good, strengths and weaknesses. So what ends up happening is invariably, unless they're just bad people or they treat you shabbily or something, you tend to want them to do well. I think that's true in all walks of life. You tend to want them to do well. But I've been calloused. I've been hardened. I like Mike just fine. Seems like a good enough guy. I need him to do his job.
I was going to say, what's that pause for? Oh, okay.
I need him to do his job because I'm just observing now. Now I'm just observing. I'm watching. You either do or you don't. We'll move on. Or we'll celebrate you. One or the other. But you either do or you don't. And this is a great opportunity. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, from what I saw yesterday at practice, I thought, okay, they're back to where they need to be. It's nothing will be as fresh as those first couple of weeks of practice before games because your bodies are not taking that kind of beating, especially fall camp isn't as physical as it used to be. So you're on a different level of fresh, but they look sharp yesterday. Jordan looked good. He had one mistake. It was a telegraphed interception in red zone play. Other than that, it was really, really sharp. I saw some things from the defense that I liked.
Red zone mistake, huh?
They worked a lot in red zone yesterday. There were a lot of reps and a lot of good. There was a lot of good, including a 105-mile-an-hour fastball to Pokey Wilson in a do-or-die situation play, which was really, really nice.
Yeah, it's tough with practice this time of year. They can have great practices. They can have terrible practices. I wouldn't take much home with me.
I do because having been to them for each game week, the correlation has been fairly strong so far of do they look good on Tuesday and Wednesday? If they do, they're going to be at least detail sound on Saturday. If they don't, or they look tired or beleaguered, whatever, adjective you wish to use, the performance has kind of followed. And it's been like, for example, the Wake Forest week I thought was oddly off. What the hell's wrong with this group, Wake Forest week? And then the performance it didn't match all the others. Boston College had more energy than Wake in terms of practice week. That doesn't make sense to me, but that's how it looked on the field too. It was strange.
It also coincides with a good team and a bad team. Wake's a lot better than Boston College,
but I mean, Wake or Boston College is not on the field in practice for those.
I know. I'm just
weeks.
I'm saying when there's blood in the water and you're about to have a confirmation or an affirmation of your greatness, it's probably uplifting as opposed to a little worrisome when there's a program that could come in and do something about what you're bringing to the table. I'm saying subconsciously, I think that can happen. It'll be interesting. Their play has coincided with the level of competition for the most part. Like when they play well against teams that they're equal to or better than, they win the games. And when they play poorly against teams that are equal to or better than them, they lose those games. Now it's time to get on the right. You're better than every team you're about to play, save for Syracuse. We're not real sure about Syracuse yet.
And even the teams that are better than you in terms of talent or experience or a combination of the two, you've dominated 4 swaths of those games.
Yeah, there's been moments,
even with the deficit.
Which is why that leads to the frustration one feels when the game ends and you're not on the right side of the ledger. Thomas writes, just renewed my booster pledge for 2023 because I believe in this program. I strongly encourage everybody to give to Seminole boosters at any level to help this program. We have to compete with money in this era of college football. Go Noles. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate you listening to the show. Appreciate you contributing there to the cause. Yeah, man, and there's a lot of places to contribute all over. I'm sure most boosters and alumni and supporters of any kind are all kind of a little confused even to this day. Like, well, where's my money best spent? Tom and I like to give money to individual coaches. We will not to their pockets, but to their teams, their programs. Yeah. I don't walk into Trey Jones and say, Trey, good to see you, baby. Here's 100 bones. Keep it going. Not quite like that, but you can support individual programs like that. You can give to Rising Spear. You can give to Seminole Boosters, Champion, all these different outlets. Money infused into a program does wonders, yes. And most of that money flows more readily and freely when it's on the other end of a big win. That's when people tend to reach into the pocket and say, I think I will today write that check. I'll answer the phone from Seminole boosters that just called that I normally discard because I know they want my money. I'll pick up today because, damn it, we're doing the right thing and it's about time. Maybe that again happens this Saturday, starting this Saturday. It's maybe a magical run to finish the year. Can you imagine, everybody, your spirits, your hour-to-hour, day-to-day existence if this team goes on a 5-game winning streak and we're talking about a big-time bowl? I'm serious. I mean, it shouldn't be this way. We should be more mature, but we're not. We're sports fans. We reach a level of maturity that only goes to a certain level because we care about things that we can't control. And by definition, that's stupid. But it's all right. It's all right. I embrace it. I accept it. I love sports. I love my school. I love this team. I want to see them do well. And it is something that affects you on a week-to-week, year-to-year basis. It's nuts. We care deeply about these things. It's funny the way it works. But winning, ultimately, is the salve. And let's see if we get it.
Well, it's just the hard part of the last few years is you go through the slog of September and October weather-wise, and you want the payoff to be important football games in good weather. We're not like the Midwest in that sense. Now, we're better off in December, January, February, and most of March. But I loved back in the day, this is 6 years ago now, you've got a Saturday night game against Florida in November. There is a crisp in the air. You remember we wandered the tailgate lots for a while that day? It was a gorgeous day. You get inside the stadium, you can see your breath, and that's Dalvin taking over early on, patient and explosive, and a touchdown for the Noles was the call by Tess.
It's a good call.
It's a great call, and that was a fun night. I like getting to the finish line of good weather football games, competitive football games, because we've done something. And you
feel like you've earned like a workout almost, right?
Yes, this is before us now. If you take care of business over the next 3 weeks, then you've got Louisiana, which is it should be kind of a kick back and relax kind of Saturday. And then you got the Black Friday game. It's a night kick against Florida. Come on, guys. Let's reward ourselves with some enthusiasm with good weather. It's like the holiday season. You go to the stores in the holiday season, you feel a little pep in your step.
All right, here we go.
You go to the stores in July.
Yeah.
There is no pep in that step.
No, it's hot as Hades. You're pissed to be there. Still seems like a long way off to the good stuff comes, meaning, football. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, we've painted the picture successfully. Wasn't even the plan, but I've just felt it all week long. Hey, we're about to go to break. Before we do, I should say happy belated birthday. I see Steve in the chat. It's funny. I got home last night. Tom and I golfed together yesterday, and he was sensational. Tom nearly shot a 35 on the back nine, or really the front nine, our back nine. Nearly shot a 35 on your birthday, which would have been something. You still shot a 36, which is doing some things. And it never occurred to me until I was going to bed last night. And this is hilarious. True story. I'm going to bed. I put my phone usually like right by this lamp that's by my bed. I shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have your phone right there, but I do just in case of an emergency, whatever. And I'm reading before I go to bed, just trying to get sleepy, get ready. I lay down. My wife asked me how the day was. How'd we play? All this other stuff. I'm like, good. I'm like, yeah, Tom was really good today. He played really, really well. And so I'm just laying there. I go, man, at some point I'm gonna shoot really low in the 80s. I can't find any consistency. And as we're talking, I go, it was Tom's birthday. And she goes, did you wish him a happy birthday? I go, no, I didn't. No, just occurred to me right now that it was Tom's birthday.
It's all right. You took me golfing.
I did.
It's kind of like the Take Me Fishing commercial. Take me fishing.
But it was
so
crazy.
I don't feel alone.
10:37 p.m., Tom. I went, it was Tom's birthday. Did you wish him? No, just occurred to me. She's like, are you going to tell him? I'm like, no, I'm going to sleep. It's too late now. I missed it. I'm glad we were together, but I'm sorry I didn't wish you a happy birthday.
It's okay. You were there.
And did Steve? Yeah, Steve, I think I saw it in the chat here.
Steve's awesome. Steve, are you making it down for a game this year? What's the deal? Go ahead.
Happy belated birthday, buddy. Hope it was a great day, writes Steve. And Z-Chan, hola, gents. You all talk briefly about how logistically NIL works. Like, how do players actually get the money, get approached about offers? Thanks, and go Noles. Yeah, we'll do it when we get back. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Tallahassee's favorite family-owned Apple and Mac product stores moved to an all-new location. Mac & More Systems is now located at 230 John Knox Road. Same great people, same great services, same great prices, all at a new location. Mac & More offers computer and Apple device sales, one-on-one consulting, business services, and the most experienced Apple repair team in the city. Learn how to get the most out of your Apple gear. Come by and say hi to the Mac & More Systems team today at their new location, 230 John Knox Road.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF. Your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced, and while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you, and thank me later.
It's been a while since I gave myself a real chance to meet someone new.
Susan and John are two kindred spirits who rediscovered the romance they deserve on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for singles over 50.
John is a massive foodie like me. It's been amazing to experience some of my favorite things again with someone who makes my heart beat faster. I'm so glad I got back out there.
Sign up today at silversingles.com/date. That's silversingles.com/date.
If you want to pay off high-interest debt faster, it's time to refinance with American Financing, America's home for home loans. Get a free mortgage review and learn about custom loans that can save you up to $1,000 a month. If you start soon, you may close in as fast as 10 days. Call 866-886-2026. That's 866-886-2026. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff, who's traveling to the Cuse game? Let's grab a beer. I'll throw the tailgate out. Hey, man, I've never gone. I've been to Syracuse's campus. I've been all over that campus. In fact, every nook and cranny of that campus has seen me. But I've never, but I've never gone to a game there. I went there with an ex-girlfriend whose best friend was getting married. She taught math. She was a professor of math.
Oh, professor. All right.
She was a badass.
All right.
Yeah. It's such a funny thing when you are, when you don't have an interest in something. That's not the right way of saying it. When you don't have a passion for something, you tend to think it's not possible for others to have an absolute passion for that thing that you dismiss.
Yeah. Pop country music.
Right. Yes. But that's a different thing. Don't get me going on that. That's a whole nother. Damn it. Yeah. You tried. Right.
Airports in Tallahassee.
Here we go. Certain triggers. Yeah, man. She was a professor and taught math at Syracuse. And I remember thinking, who does that? God, that's gotta suck. No, I love it. Really? It's just weird the way our brains work. It was just, I was like, you do? Every day math? Really?
Yeah, it's Arrested Development. And
yeah, it's like,
her?
Yeah, really? Yeah. that was me. We had a question a moment ago about NIL. I think Z-Chan asked it. A lot of different ways. First of all, name, image, likeness, we all know it's still relatively young, and it's not uniformly enforced or meted out the same way across state lines. That's part of the problem. There's no unilateral, like, you have to do this. We just know that these collectives, which are typically founded by alumni, It's not like some random dude named Jerry who's never gone to the school decides, I really care deeply about Buffalo football. I'm going to start it up.
I don't know.
Well, maybe,
No.
but I think typically
Rising Spear doesn't have anything to do with Florida State.
No, it doesn't contractually have anything to do with the university, but it certainly has a central theme and cause to help those that play sports at Florida State University.
I don't know about that.
I do know about that. But it's strange. Like, I go back, you remember the first, major marquee marketing event for student athletes that occurred after the NIL rule change basically was the 2022 March Madness tournament. And it put NCAA men's and women's basketball players, if you think about who runs that event, in the spotlight. There was that kid that played at St. Peter's who ended up, there was, or maybe the University of Connecticut, I can't remember who it was, on the women's team that did an endorsement for Buffalo's Wings or BW3, whatever that is, right? Yeah. So I remember seeing those deals, Buffalo Wild Wings. I remember seeing those deals and thinking, well, that's amazing. That blew me away. And it can be that you are approached as a student athlete by a marketing firm that says you've been identified, could be your social media account. Typically it is. For example, a lot of people tend to think that football players are the ones that benefit here. No, very few, very, very small group of football players make any real money off of these marketing deals. It's the elite of the elite that do, but a women's soccer player like the one we had here at Florida State that has, say, 5 million followers would be a better person to utilize for a marketing campaign than a backup wide receiver or a big-time recruit who hasn't played. Nobody knows them.
In general, it's bearing out, and On3 does a really good job, the parent company, with valuations and NIL reports. It bears out that women's sports
is where it's at
on a per capita basis, does a lot more, puts a lot more money in the pockets than big time men's sports.
Yeah.
And, that's not always true, but it's just, if you're looking at the country, not the Southeast, but the country is a trend. But yeah, the point is, that you're either retained, your services are retained, your image and your likeness, by an agent who can shop you.
Correct.
Or by an organization, a collective like Rising Spear, or something in between. It could just be a local direct business deal that you do with a car dealership or something along those lines.
They have built-in
it could be
budgets.
any and all of those things.
Right.
And the distribution it's unique to each relationship.
It completely is. So I might decide I've got a built-in local budget for my company's advertising any given year, right? And I've decided that, I don't know, maybe the starting running back at Florida State has the same last name as the name of my business or something as weird as that, and then therefore we've developed a marketing plan around that. And I want to give him $400 a month to have it on his Instagram and to wear a shirt occasionally, or we may have him come out to the store, or maybe I'm selling cars, whatever it might be. Right. But it's interesting to me because, and that's fine. That's fine. You should be able to cash in. We've been saying this forever on name, image, and likeness, obviously. But I remember thinking this is going to hurt a lot of feelings, because there are a lot of guys that play big-time college football that think that there's something, or could be something, that would connect with advertisers and obviously patrons, people that are purchasing. It's just not true. They're not. Like, there are very few people that are worth spending any real money on in the world of college football.
And the thing is, too, that some of these collectives or organizations can say, you can't go shop for your own deals because if you join us, then perhaps you get a set stipend, and then we get to distribute where you go. Like, without pulling the curtain too far back on Warchant operations, the Trench show that we did last year was a direct deal with a player.
Yeah,
this year, Rising Spear is facilitating this relationship. Rising Spear is facilitating in the coop this year. That's why they're the title sponsor of the show on Monday nights, 7:30, Warchant TV.
Right.
Check out this week's episode if you haven't seen it yet. So you can do it multiple ways. There's really a lot of ways to go make some extra bucks. And the way Rising Spear does it is they have a 501c3 version.
Correct.
Where kids go, by kids,
I'm write it off, and it's just
student athletes go into the community,
charitable,
and it's all for charitable purposes. Donation of time to boys and girls clubs or local middle schools or whatever it is.
Fantastic.
Yeah, That's what
if
they
that
do.
makes you feel better, and I think a lot of people contributing want to go that route. Like, I don't mind giving these guys money to go do things that I think are productive within the community,
right,
wholesome for the university to be a part of, all that other stuff. Yes.
And then there's another side to it that is not tax deductible, not charitable, which is
I need this really good player to come play football for my team.
Bingo.
Yeah. And those are the ones that I would argue are few and far between. It is very rare that you would look at a player and say, you're player A coming out of high school are such a difference maker that I'm willing to invest $500,000, let's say, in your future if you come to my school. We think of you that highly. You're that kind of a game changer. Man, I think the more interesting thing, and I don't know this, we could certainly have our friends at Rising Spear back on the program at some point, depending on how much they would want to talk about it. I'm curious about that management. Like, we've talked a lot about this, about your salary cap, if you will. Like, if you have this much money to spend, how much of it is spent on incoming players? How much of it is spent on guys potentially in the transfer portal that can help save you the growing pains of waiting for a guy to mature enough to be able to play at a big-time level? So, Jermaine Johnson, how much would you have given Jermaine Johnson, knowing what we found out about him later on, right? And how much of it is to retain players that are already on your roster, which is another big part of it. And this is where it's scary for Florida State fans, I think. Now, we've caught up in a lot of ways, and we are competitive now in a way that we weren't when this first started. And that's a reason to exhale a little bit, because we were all quite concerned initially. But it is also true that Florida State's never going to have the deepest pockets by way of comparison to, say, Alabama, Texas A&M, hell, Stanford, Harvard, Texas, you name it. There are schools galore that have more money to spend on Notre Dame for days on end. You could never compete. If they truly wanted to get that player, they're going to get that player if it came down to money, because we're not going to outbid them. Luckily, that's not the case. There aren't too many players where that's true. You know, there's not too many guys that you'd ever want to spend that kind of money on. They'd have to be transcendent players. You'd have to be guaranteeing me that void of injury, somehow, which is impossible to guarantee in a game like football, that guy can win you a championship. If you knew ahead of time Jameis Winston was going to play the way that he did, then yeah, man, you'd give him $1 million.
Well, I think he would have earned that outright,
yes,
even before he took a snap, because
he was labeled as a cannot miss prospect.
Yes.
That are so few and far between. They exist. They exist.
In the NIL era, let's just put that player in the NIL era and the other players for his services. Stanford, Alabama, Florida State. What are the chances that Jameis makes his way here? If it was today.
Well, right.
Because those are the three schools that he was considering.
Yeah. No, it would have been problematic.
Yeah.
Well, you have to hope to, the age-old forging of relationships and reaching out early, recognizing talent well in advance, projecting the path, the career path. So you see a sophomore in high school and you think that kid, by the time he's a senior, looks like he's going to be about 6'4". He can already spin it. He's smart as hell. He's lighting it up in the college game. Florida just offered a kid that's in 8th grade at quarterback that he's playing up at varsity in 8th. He's like second in the state in passing yards this year, but he's this big around. He's tiny. They're just projecting 4 years from now that dude is going to be a star, and maybe he will, maybe he won't. A lot can happen over the next 4 years of a kid's life. It's a hard deal, and I would think within collectives there are some spirited debates about percentage of money that we dispense to certain players. I mean, how valuable, and we're going to have to do it at the end of this year. How valuable is Jordan Travis?
Right. Yeah. I mean, for example, you could take a look at a situation like Clemson's from a few years ago, and you could say that they just paid the players to stick around without NIL being a thing. And maybe you might be right. Maybe you might be wrong.
Yeah.
But when they had all 4 of their defensive linemen come back, that was a worthwhile investment. What's interesting is that doesn't always work. For example, we had a defensive tackle who was a badass and would have gone in the first round not too long ago. Had some dust-ups off the field, but that had nothing to do with on-field performance. He was just kind of banged up for his final season in Tallahassee. And Marvin Wilson, I think, was guaranteed by the end of it, maybe $100,000 plus to be on a practice squad. It's like a preferred practice squad offer from, was it Cleveland? I forget who it was precisely. But the money he left on the table was immense. If you were in the NIL era, you probably would have spent on bringing that player back.
Yeah, probably so.
And it would have been a sunk cost. So you've got to look at these types of things cold-blooded wise and say, what is the percentage chance that even a returning player at a certain age is going to fulfill the potential? Because if they're really that good, they're not even thinking about sticking around with you.
Correct. Yeah, and it is a rude awakening. Like, we're moving to a place where we've arrived at something we've thought for a long time should have been in place. Like, if you're an elite player, you ought to be able to capitalize on your superstardom and make money the way that anybody does in any other walk of life and business. I got it. So we all agreed on that. But there's another side of that coin, and we've talked about that a lot too, is that the players were going to be in for a rude awakening at some point, which is that A, you're not as worth nearly as much as you think. And B, if you're going to be treated now like an employee, like a professional player is, well, then, at some point we're going to have to be able to say, yep, fine, we guarantee you $100,000. If you do not play well, we'll remove your scholarship. We're going to go ahead and give that money to somebody else. You can go to hell.
It's my model that made everybody blind and bored from 7-8 years ago was you should have a choice when you enter campus. What's it going to be? Do you want the degree? We'll protect your scholarship.
Yeah.
Do you want the cash? If you suck, you're gone. Your choice.
It is crazy to think. I mean, it's already, Tom, to a certain extent, a little bit of a professional operation. Like, when I was coming out of high school, every football player, we had the sliding scale model where your score on your test, whether your SAT or your ACT, right, depending on how well you scored and what kind of player you were, that decided whether or not you could get into certain schools. So, like, you could have a 2.7 GPA, and you could get a scholarship and get into a certain school, but that might have been the bare minimum at that particular school, unless you had a mitigating factor like a perfect score on the ACT. And it works. Nowadays, you don't even have to do that. You can have a 2.3 and you don't have to take the ACT or the SAT, and you can get in. So we're not far from what you were talking about, where you just pay the guys to come play football.
Right. I'd rather save the seat in a course if you don't want to be there. No, and everybody's saying, what are we doing here? I'd rather save a seat and preserve the integrity of the college side of the business here.
Yeah.
I know it's a shell game, but I'd rather preserve that. Real quick, I'm just sharing a tab here on the video side of the On3 database and doing the right thing by the company, I guess. But this is the NIL valuation chart.
For people who can't see this and are listening on the radio, Tom is showing Jordan Travis valuation at $307,000.
That's what they have him in, and they coordinate and find ways behind the scenes, I think, to get a basic, accurate number. So, for example, if you scroll down on his page, you see some of the different NIL deals he signed. Now, the terms are undisclosed, but I think that there might be some intel that On3 gathers here to arrive at a certain number.
He's got a Barstool Sports deal. He's got,
right, a coffee company, Rising Spears, and so forth. But it says that his valuation right now is $307,000. So if we get to a month from now, is 300 and let's call it 325, 3.25. Is that worth it to Jeff Cameron, NIL collective board member,
to pay him
to retain Jordan Travis' services for another year?
Yeah. What do I have coming down the coffers? I got to know from my head coach, even though I'm not supposed to have a relationship with him or have these discussions, but I'm going to figure out right now, if we've got a kid set to transfer portal quarterback, who's every bit as good, if not better, than Jordan Travis, I'm telling Jordan, good luck in professional football and give him a hug. Yeah, and root for him to make it and all that other
And he
stuff.
can always say no to this deal. I'm just saying that let's just say that the On3 database has a decent look into the market value.
Yeah, and Preston writes, I think folks have unfounded worries about keeping Jordan, quote unquote. Where's he going? I get you, man. I get you. His stock has risen to the point where he has an outside chance of being drafted very late, like in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, something like that. Is he a game-changing quarterback at the next level? I don't think so, especially because if he's to utilize his most promising skill, he'll get broken in half. Well, in that league.
Yeah, the other thing is never assume that every player has the same goal to be taken in number 1 overall or in the first round.
Correct.
Some players' goals are just to start and get with the getting. They might not even love the sport.
They can reach a certain age where they go, it doesn't behoove me to come back to college.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Absolutely. You see it in basketball all the time, where a kid could probably use another year, but you're like, yeah, man, you're not going to get appreciably better, and you're 23. You better take it on down the road. Like, agents will get a hold of that kid now. Age means a lot in the NBA draft, but they'll look at a kid and go, you stick around another year, you're probably not getting drafted. You got to go. You got to go. Football's a little different, especially the position he plays. It's fascinating. I mean, you would start to look at what is my salary for 10 months on a practice squad? Will I earn more on a practice squad than I would from this collective?
And how much more free time does that afford me to do whatever else I wish to do?
Yeah.
Cultivate other skills for the next phase of my life.
Tell you
Whatever
what,
it
you better
is.
love the hell out of football if you're only going to be on a practice squad, because that is a thankless deal.
Agreed, but some guys understand it. They read the room and they say, "Look, man, I'm never going to start for the Steelers.
Yeah,
I might as well just make my $250,000 if I can for the next couple of years, and I've already gotten my Masters. The hell am I going to come back for? Another Masters?"
Right. It's a fun thing. It's a fun debate. It's always, I would love to be in those rooms. And I mean, you do really have to get down. And this is one of those things, baseball players and football players and basketball players will tell you, you don't want to be in the room with your agent when he's negotiating with a team, because it is the team's job to devalue the player. It's the agent's job to increase the value of the player. And those arguments get ugly, because every time the agent, says that player A, my client does this, and this well, you can bet that ownership's going to come back with all the things you don't do well, and it gets personal. There's no way for it not to.
Agreed.
And I think that's what that would be in a collective room, right? Like, yes. Oh, you want to give Jordan this much money? Well, let me tell you what he doesn't do. And I mean, that's
right. For 1 year, we could spend this money, to secure players for 3 years. We could get kids in here for 3 years and spread it around multiple ways. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be, especially when it comes down to the final dollar. It's just the one thing I would caution. I see it going on in the chat right now, which is he needs more development. Where would he go? Players don't always think like you do. See John Butler. Why the hell is John Butler not back at Florida State? We just talked about it. He got a 2-way deal with who? Somebody out west?
Yeah, and he wasn't even on that roster. Yeah.
And that was very predictable. But he didn't think that.
Well, they get, yes.
He had any more seasoning coming here.
The people that surround him.
Correct. But kids don't think the way that we all do as the fan community. Also, we've got a goal that they might not have, which is our best interest in mind.
Sure. Yeah. Well, these 5 games will help us decide, Tom, exactly.
Yeah. Let's get his NIL valuation up to $600K after these 5 games.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department made 2 arrests after an ounce of fentanyl was found during a traffic stop. The police department received information that Emily Scott, 31, and Montague C., 43, were trafficking fentanyl into the city. Members of TPD's General Narcotics Unit, Drug Interdiction Unit, the Community-Oriented Policing and Problem-Solving Squad, with assistance from FHP and Technical Operations Unit, conducted a traffic stop of a vehicle that C was operating when the drug was found. The ounce of fentanyl found could provide up to 14,000 lethal doses. Tallahassee's Fire Department and Professional Firefighters Human Relations Committee is set to hold a fire and EMS recruitment day. Attendees will learn what firefighters and EMS do specifically, what education is needed, and how to prepare for each career. The event will be held on Saturday, November 12th from 10 to 4 at 2964 Municipal Way. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 79 this afternoon. Under clear skies, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, lows around 52. Sunny skies and calm again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 80. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Friday, with highs in the low 80s. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Saturday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Basic Brooks. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true. But I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, Greg?
You know all the different ways that you can listen to Real Talk 93.3?
There are several.
So we've got realtalk93.com. You can go back and listen to all of our shows in the podcast section.
That's right. You can also listen on our app as well.
Search Real Talk 93.3 and look for the red microphone and download our app. Never go anywhere without us.
And of course, you can always listen right on the radio.
Well, they are listening.
Are they?
If they're hearing this commercial, then they're listening.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Soon to be battle between college football and professional football for television rights and a larger piece of the pie. It was inevitable, right? The NFL had 75 of the top 100 most watched television broadcasts last year. 75. College football had 6. Those are staggering numbers.
Yeah.
The Olympics, 11 of the top 100 were the only other sport that came close. The NBA, NHL, MLB did not place any events in the top 100. None of them. That is pretty fascinating. He goes on to write, you've probably noticed the NFL creeping in. They've had Thursday games for years now, and the league has added a 17th regular season game last year, as well as a bigger playoff field. It's even adding a Black Friday game, normally reserved for college football rivalries. And that is true now with the college football season looking to extend because of, well, we see week zeros now are commonplace. In addition, they're going to expand the playoff field, and now we're getting into a debate. Where do we play these games? How do we get the highest ratings? We're not going to play them on a Wednesday. It's time finally to not back down to the NFL and instead say, we'll play them here. And we don't care what you have to say about that. The NFL's going to say, fine, well, we'll play some games on Saturdays and Fridays then. And here we go. And there will be a legal fight in all of this as well. This goes back, if you read that piece, to a rule that was in place dating back to, I think, 1961. Yes, that is correct. College football in the NFL had a deal that goes back to the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. The law was passed by Congress, signed by John F. Kennedy, which allowed the NFL to pool its TV rights as a single entity, leading to the sports financial boom. Up to that point, individual NFL teams had to do their own TV deals. Eventually, college thought, oh, well, we're going to get encroached upon. What can we do? So they ended up enforcing this deal where basically, well, you can only play on Sundays and you can only play on Saturdays. And these are the times that you can play. And they lived symbiotically. It was fine. They go, okay, well, that works if you're not going to encroach. At that time, when the NFL did what they did, they were not anywhere close to the popularity of college football. So they knew they couldn't play their games on Saturdays because they would lose. They would never get any ratings. College football would dwarf them. Now, as I just mentioned, they control the vast majority of the ratings when it comes to football. 75 of the top 100 most popular television programs, period.
They are television. Television doesn't exist anymore without live sports, and live sports rights doesn't exist without the NFL paving the way. So they basically are television. It's funny, that was the laughter the couple of years ago, which is like, well, the ratings, nobody's ever going to watch the NFL anymore. Yeah, no.
Yes, they are.
And a higher percentage than ever before.
Yeah.
Like, especially with segmentation being what it is, there are so many special interest shows and channels for everybody. Yet we all gather together for the NFL in a way that we haven't for any other program since early Game of Thrones. And even then, I don't know that was as high as what the NFL is producing on broadcast television.
It's crazy, the numbers. You could go in and read more of that story. It's a lengthy story. It gets into all kinds of things about why the NFL was able to pool their franchises together and not have it be an antitrust deal, because their argument was, well, for the competitive balance of the sport, there are markets that would never survive if we didn't all benefit from the top tier. And like Green Bay would not have made it. Specifically, Green Bay could not have made it. In fact, they're truly unique if you think about sports leagues. Like, there's no reason for there to be a team in Green Bay. I mean, it's an outpost in the middle of nowhere that nobody cares about. But they're one of the most popular franchises in NFL history, and it's really cool that they have one. And it was because of that law that was passed that allowed them to do that. At that time, college football's barons, if you will, those that were running college football, they were in a place of strength. They weren't worried about the NFL. They never realized that that law would allow the NFL to encroach upon them and become this powerhouse that they've become. But the point is, college football now wants to expand. They want a larger piece of the pie, and the NFL does too.
They got to start doing basic things smarter. Number one, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend needs to have a triple header at minimum. How's there only one game or one game that really matters on the Sunday of Labor Day weekend? There's no NFL. It's the one time you have it.
Do it up, yeah.
The second thing is I saw the Big Ten release their schedule for next year today. Morons, do what the NFL does. Make it a holiday in the spring so that you're talked about throughout the calendar. That's the NFL's brilliance at work right there.
Well, they have figured out, and they did so a long time ago. While I was on the air, we watched it happen. We used to mark the time with it. We'd say, look at what the NFL does here in the middle of nothing. They're going to release some major thing that we all get excited for. And at some point, even ESPN began to have shows centered around the schedule, and people felt compelled to watch it. It's brilliant. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey, this is Greg Tish. Here's something you might know about me. I don't drink coffee. I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. Well, that is until now. So why change now? Well, it's because my dear friend at Grassroots Coffee reached out to me after hearing me say that and insisted that I give his product a try. I've been making a huge mistake. The world of coffee is fascinating. I always thought coffee is coffee, you know? No, it's not. I have tried their coffee and it is fantastic. Now, I've got a fascination with learning more about the best coffee in our area. Grassroots Coffee is locally roasted, locally owned, and locally loved. You can find whole bean Grassroots Coffee on the local aisle at Publix, also in Whole Foods. But the best way to get this black gold is to order it online. They literally grind the fresh roasted beans to your preferred level, bag it, write the date on it by hand so you know the exact day your coffee was roasted. It doesn't get any more fresh than that. Order yours now. Just go to grassrootscoffee.com and choose the coffee you want and how you want it. And join me. Let's step up our coffee game together and also support a great local business.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. All heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Crime and abortion took center stage in the New York gubernatorial debate as incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul faced a Republican challenger, Congressman Lee Zeldin. Courtesy of Spectrum News NY1, Zeldin says his opponent was not taking the crime concerns of New Yorkers seriously.
Kathy Hochul believes that the only crimes that are being committed are these crimes with guns. And you got people who are afraid of being pushed in front of oncoming subway cars. They're being stabbed, beaten to death on the street with hammers. Go talk to the Asian American community and how it's impact them with the loss of lives. Jewish people targeted with raw, violent anti-Semitism on our streets.
Hochul criticized Zeldin over gun control, saying he took no action on public safety issues.
There is no crime-fighting plan if it doesn't include guns, illegal guns. And you refuse to talk about how we can do so much more. You didn't even show up for votes in Washington when a bipartisan group of enlightened legislators voted for an assault weapon ban.
That debate taking place in Albany. Also at townhall.com, a new survey suggesting that less than half of voters think the country is headed in the right direction.
29% of likely U.S. voters think the country is headed in the right direction, according to a new Rasmussen Reports national telephone and online survey for the week ending October 20th. The national telephone survey of 2,100 likely U.S. voters was conducted on October 16th. The margin of sampling error was plus or minus 2% with a 95% confidence level.
Correspondent Bernie Bennett. On the battlefront, Russia targeting more than 40 villages around Ukraine over the past day, killing at least 2 more people and sustaining the terror that forces people into air raid shelters each night. The developments come as fears are growing that Russia could try to detonate a so-called dirty bomb. On Wall Street, the Dow had 119 points and the Nasdaq down 153. More at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1560.
Right here in our hometown is a local spot where you can take a break from all your worries. A place where everybody knows his name is Smitty's Tap House and Grill. Smitty's deep appreciation for fine craft beers and tasty bar treats sets the stage as the ideal local neighborhood pub. Want to know more? Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com to check out the full menu. Come see us at Smitty's Tap House and Grill on Thomasville Road, just north of Cary Forest Parkway. You'll be glad you came, where everybody knows his name.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
sour me on my enthusiasm for this game this weekend. I'm excited.
What was that about? Trash cans or something? You had to take them down, or?
Yeah, every morning that's when I take out the trash every morning. I want a reason to go outside, take in the fresh air. And I was like, I opened the door and went, oh, what are we doing here? My son was complaining because it was warm. I said, but this is the front. This is the front coming through. Now, what are we getting on Saturday afternoon? I always used to ask you to check that weather window, Tom.
That's the Matt Millar weather window.
But
I'm
it's
just
all
holding
right.
the keys
You
for it.
are. But what is the weather window telling us Saturday at noon? Are we going to be feeling it? Are we going to be excited about it?
Yeah, we will be very excited about it, especially at 10 a.m. at Hotel Indigo, which is 826 West Gain Street in College Town.
Good times.
The high for the day on Saturday currently is forecast at 79 degrees.
Woo.
So that means for the pregame show at 10 a.m., Hotel Indigo will probably be in the mid to upper 60s. That ain't bad.
And on Friday, if you're coming out for the happy hour show, I imagine that's going to be glorious out on the deck at the CP, huh?
Yeah. If you were to sit outside, you would be enjoying a high of 80 degrees on Friday.
That doesn't suck.
So by the time that the happy hour starts, or if you want to go sit on the deck at CP after it's over, it'll be a balmy 72. I mean, it's 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Beautiful.
As an aside, I'll get back to FSU for a second. I don't know if you saw this. The Bucks are going to be without 4 starters for the game against the Ravens Thursday night.
Are they all wide receivers?
All right. No, it's
Carlton Davis.
Yes, Carlton Davis,
and,
Sean Murphy-Bunny are going to be out. Cam Braid's going to be out. Antonio Winfield Jr. is going to be out.
Winfield had a concussion in the second half.
Gadecki's going to be out. He stinks anyhow. A lot of problems.
Got some issues. Right now, what is the over-under for the win total that carries the NFC South? We are finally experiencing what it's like to be in the NFC East for all those years, where under 500 is right in play.
You know what I think is interesting? I think there's going to be real value. Get this? I think there might be some real value on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pretty soon, because you don't have to be good right now. And apparently in that division, you're not going to have to be good hardly at all at any point to have a chance to win it. Like, you might be able to go 9-8 and win the division.
Their remaining schedule includes the Ravens, Rams.
Well, they're going to lose to the Ravens. The Rams are a mess. Where's the Rams game?
In Tampa. Does it matter? I mean, can't score anywhere.
Well, but the Rams suck too.
And they'll go play in Germany, and they're going to play Geno Smith and the Seahawks.
Well, they'll probably get beat there, yeah.
Travel to Cleveland.
They'll win that game. Cleveland's awful.
Host the Saints. Go out to South Carolina. Listen to me. San Francisco.
Loss.
Host the Bengals.
Loss.
Out to Arizona.
Could win that game.
Panthers, Falcons.
Should win both those games.
And you're looking at 8 wins, 8 and 9.
Could win the division. Could win the division.
It could very well.
Could win the division at 8 and 9. That's why I said there might be some value there. And God forbid they get healthy. Now, they're not any good, and they're not a threat to win anything. But if you were to put some little pizza money on them to make the playoffs, you might get incredible odds, and you're just doing it based on the fact that the division's terrible. Not because you think they're good. You think they may suck enough to somehow back into winning 8 games in a horrible division and win the division and make the playoffs. Just something to point out.
If the offense ever got together, that defense is pretty good. So that's the one thing that will just be lingering until it's officially over.
We'll see, though. I did appreciate, if you haven't watched this week, you will enjoy it because I know you respect him. Go watch Brian Baldinger's breakdown of the defense. We'll see. They're not trying real hard, and their run fits are terrible.
Correct. I'll bet you they're a whole lot better if they think that we can score more than 10 points.
Maybe. They haven't. I'm worried about a couple players. I was worried about him before this offense.
Well, you've got cancer in that locker room. Brady's not trying as hard as he has to.
He's certainly distracted. And they also have the worst rushing attack in football. So everything that you do is one-dimensional. You've got zero chance. I don't care if Jesus is playing quarterback. You got no chance.
The thing is, I think you're better off with the rookie, Rashad White, because a lot of these situations, it's blocked up for at least a gain of 3 or 4, and Fournette's just bouncing indiscriminately.
Well, and they benched him. I mean,
they benched him last game.
Yeah, they benched him last game.
Yeah.
I mean, that I don't disagree about that. There are a lot of things, man. A lot of things. It's fascinating. But you know what? It's the other part of it. I love football, college and pro. I watch it all every weekend. It's a great joy. It's always, I call it a male soap opera. I know it's not exclusive to males. There are all these things, right? The same sort of dramatic swings that we're seeing with the Bucks right now, you're seeing a Texas A&M, right? Jimbo Fisher has been the talk of college football this week. Beleaguered. They've had to suspend players. You got 3 freshmen that are suspended after this locker room incident where they're smoking weed after the game in the locker room. I mean, this is a program run amok with no discipline whatsoever. Jimbo's at the dais telling everybody about how at least they're not getting blown off the field and all this run off the field, all this nonsense, right? We love this. We love the storylines, real and imagined and everything in between.
Hey, coach, you want to hit this?
The only thing I'm saying is that it doesn't matter so long as when you put your chips to the middle of the table, it paid off in the way of a Super Bowl championship. And it did in Tampa. So this fallout can look whatever way it wants to look like. They would have been terrible. If Brady had stayed retired and Trask had to start, we're pretty sure we're going to suck just like we are now. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that he's 2/3 of the way to Joan Rivers. It's okay. It's okay. That flag flies forever.
Well, it does. And, you know, the funny thing is with Brady, anyhow, of course, because he has been so good for so long that he's engendered by non-Patriots fans, certainly, a whole lot of hatred. Anybody that's on top for that long eventually elicits a ton of hatred. See all these franchises that have ever been the most successful, Dallas, the Yankees, you name them all, right?
Yeah, the thing is, it's just I've seen the talk down in Tampa, and it's oversimplified, as much of it always is in Tampa sports media, that if Evans catches that ball, they're going to go magically score, what, 35 points?
Well, they might have won the game. Because
they might have won the game
the
17-16.
Right.
I mean, what are we talking about here?
No, I know.
It's not like that offense is going to go up and down the field. The maddening thing is he's still an average to above average quarterback when he's not fully prepared for the test.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's do the preparation thing again.
Well, and even if he does, they are going to have problems moving the ball. They'll be better. But if you can't run, you're going to have a hard time. I mean, they are, again, when you're averaging 60 yards a game on the ground, good luck with that. Now, he may welcome throwing the ball 60 times a game, and you just pad your career numbers and walk out the door, I suppose. But if you're actually trying to win games, they're going to have to remedy the non-running situation. That's problematic. And I do think that we've got serious question marks as a play caller over there as well. So he's become...
there's total dysfunction. I mean, there is an innocuous play this weekend, and I'm so attuned to this because of Florida State. You know, Florida State has prepared me for a lot of things as an undergraduate student back in the day. But Florida State football has prepared me to look for toxicity on sidelines and dysfunction on a football team because of what we've seen the last 5 years. When Mike Evans breaks in on a throw to the end zone and doesn't go up for the ball, that's clearly a miscommunication. Then he starts limping and he calls to come off. No, man, you're not hurt. Stop it.
Well,
you're not hurt.
It is.
That's a miscommunication, and you don't want to look like the fall guy.
It's also, by the way, the negative side, if you're ever going to bring it up to Mike. He's done it his whole career.
Yes.
That has always been the case. That's not new. It's always, knee hurts after that drop.
The principal difference between Mike Evans and MJ Walker is Mike Evans is going to the Professional Hall of Fame.
Correct.
That's the difference.
Now we go to Florida State, which we are enthusiastic about, and practice has gone well this week, and there's not a lot to report until you play a game, and we haven't played one in some time, so it's difficult to really dive right in, sink your teeth into that, but rather project what you hope happens on Saturday, which I think is a team well prepared, ready to play, healthier than they've been in a long time, and one that's going to win a football game. And then we're off and running.
Coach Norvell saying today that Fabian Lovett is a game time decision, but they've given him more and more. I can speak to that being a practice yesterday. Limited action there. I mean, it's not full bore like it was August 25th or something along those lines. But there was an individual rep yesterday where he went against one of our guards, and he looked very much like Fabian Lovett. And you go, oh, there it is. He's fine.
He destroyed Dimitri Emmanuel.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, let me say something. Would you play him?
Yeah. I'd play him on I would ramp him up and see how he goes.
But I'm saying
I might not even start him, though.
Well,
I might roll him out there third,
right.
fourth drive and then see how it goes. Miami is the bigger fish to fry here, of course, and so is Syracuse right behind it.
Correct.
But I don't want him going out cold against Miami.
All right, so I'm going to give you this because I thought about it yesterday. You know, you probably don't need him against Georgia Tech, and you can gauge it, right? So let's say you don't start him, and he's dressed and ready to go. Can give you something if he needs to. He's cleared. Everybody's happy about that, let's say. And you go right down the field and you score. And then you don't start him. and then Georgia Tech goes 3 and out, and you go right down the field and score, and it's 14-0. Now you get a decision to make. Am I going to play him? Or should I just wait? Should I just wait at that point and let him go play 7:30 ABC at Miami, juiced, ready to roll, healthier another week because you didn't have to play him against Georgia Tech?
There are enough examples. I understand it's Georgia Tech that we're playing. There are enough examples of us getting out to a good start and, blank in the bed that I would still move forward with the plan.
Listen, I will always say this, and this is true, and I am independently saying this without any information about the dialogue between Fabian Lovett, doctors, and the team. So this is just me spitballing here, having some fun. It's a talking point. You like to hold off on having to use your secret weapon, if you will, until you absolutely have to. But the truth of the matter is the player wants to play. The player always wants to play if they can play, and they're doing what they can to go get their money. So that's a factor too. If Fabian Lovett is of the mindset, I've got to go put it on tape over these next 5 games, and I want to go get paid, and I'm healthy and I've been cleared, well, then he's playing, and you got to play him, and you let him go do it. I get all of that.
I'm just saying what maximizes the opportunity for Fabian to play most of the Miami game and the Syracuse game. Is it holding him back this week, or is it ramping him up this week? I think it's ramping him up.
Well, it just depends on how many reps you're giving him in practice this week and next. Like, to me, he hasn't really been able to simulate anything close to a game. He hasn't, let's say, been involved in those drills the way that you would be if you were a starter working up to a game. Then you play him. Let's see. Let's get him some wind. Let's see what he does with the juices flowing. Yeah.
And that seems to be the mindset of this coaching staff too, because you've got the Jared Verse example from Wake Forest, where he ended up playing between 25 and 30 plays. It felt like he was only out there for maybe a dozen, but the snap count at the end of the game said very differently. That's why we like to check these things. But that it's 20-25, man, you put him on a pitch count of 12 to 16 in this game. That should be enough.
Yeah,
he's got to get that contact work going, because, if it was Georgia Tech, Miami, and then Louisiana, maybe not. Maybe I don't. But I need him to play 2 weeks in a row here coming up real soon.
We keep getting asked every day, and all of us that work for Warchant, and I would imagine it's true of anybody on the beat, whether or not Winston Wright's going to play. I don't have the answer to that question. I wouldn't be allowed to tell you if I did. I do know we're getting to a place in the schedule where if he doesn't play soon, what's the point?
I agree. And what I'd say about this receiving core this year, while it hasn't been, the best in the country in terms of measurables, whose reps is he taking? I mean, honestly, is he going to be out there as a starter by the end of the season? Because you've got people who are in the flow of the offense for swaths of a year, and we're coming down the stretch. He would be, to me, a package player at this point.
Early, yeah, when you work him back in, yeah.
He could be a starter maybe, but if you worked him in the next couple of weeks, maybe by Florida, but I mean, that's the end of the year.
I just don't know the point. I mean, at this, I think
he's doing more and more. We could share that much. He's doing more and more in practice.
At some point, you said, great.
Yeah. I mean,
if he's not involved in the game plan and install, well, he's not going to play.
I'm not one to argue, and nor am I arguing that Ja'Kai Douglas is a better wide receiver than Winston Wright. My point would be that with Johnny and McClain and Kentron coming on lately and having some good practices behind a really acrobatic catch against Clemson, and you got Pittman and Ja'Kai, I mean, you've got different roles for all these body types. You don't have to force it here if he's not running like a bat out of hell. And if he was at this point, he'd be on the field.
Yeah.
So
I hate it for the kid. It stinks so much. I mean, it was all set up perfectly, and Florida State would have been the benefactor big time. We know what that kid can do against Power 5 competition. We know the consistency with which he played. We know the production of his game when he was at West Virginia. So that's just a really sad situation that happened. A car accident that's not his fault, that it requires him to have surgery and miss a significant amount of time, changing the time frame on what he hopes to be a pro career. I do wonder, and this is me talking out loud, it's more rhetorical than anything else, in that is, hey, if he doesn't play this weekend and say he doesn't play against Miami, well, what are we doing here? There would be no reason to play whatsoever at that point. Just come back next year and go show out at 100% and make your money that way. I mean, I know he wanted to speed it up. I know he wanted to go pro. That much was made evident, but he haven't played.
Right, and circumstances beyond your control. And I would think he could get a medical shirt this year as well. He's a redshirt junior, so he still has, no matter what happens with eligibility, he can come back next year. It's probably in his best interest to do so. It's just, if it was if he was at 100% by now, they're not holding him back. If he was there, he'd be on the field. The problem is, do you really want to roll him out? Let's say he can't play this weekend. Do you really want to roll him out for his first game against Miami? Not that they're any great shakes, but I mean, you've got a thing you've got going on here. You've got rapport with receiver. You want to break somebody in a rivalry game? I don't know.
Yeah, I by the way, selfishly, I love, and when I begin to think about it in my mind, we have a question about the quarterback. We'll see, but you go back and you start thinking about what's possible for next year. So Winston Wright is, let's say, not going to play this year, and he decides come back, play a full year of football. Let's go get right, man. Now line up your receivers with the experience that they got this year, and then throw in what we believe will be a much more effective and useful version of Deuce Spann, who's out there but not really being utilized.
Yeah, hell, I mean, before he got banged up, Darion Williamson showed out for a game.
So Darion Williamson, Deuce Spann, Winston Wright, Johnny Wilson, Micah, we go on and on.
Kentron.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and then
they closed the deal on Hykeem Williams.
Just to say, you're bringing in a 5-star who's probably a plug-and-play body type-wise. He already looks like he's ready. Now, it's hard on freshman receivers, but we've seen it. You can do it. So, yeah, man, that is a core that you'd be excited about. I know we have the rest of this year and we're worried about now, but it is fun to start to speculate what that group looks like, because you're only a year removed from having the worst receiving core in the ACC and one of the worst in the Power 5. And all of a sudden, if you have all of the guys that I just mentioned, they decide to come back and make up that receiving core, you've got one of the best receiving cores in the conference.
Yeah, I think even if you lose one or two, and it might be the wrong one or two,
well,
you still have much more than you did before this transfer portal session.
Yeah, but if you keep them all, and there's a chance you do.
Yeah, it's fair to look at that depth chart though when we're having the Winston Wright conversation, because here we are. It's going to be November before he plays in all likelihood. We'll see. Maybe he plays this weekend, but I mean, the hard part to this, what's really frustrating about it, is we're still having conversations about whether or not Sam McCall should return kicks. And to me, that shouldn't be a conversation, personally speaking. Winston Wright was going to be your kick returner, and he was really good at it. It might have been, in hindsight, more important based upon some of these transfers, the other guys that have shown out and gotten, pretty good results. We probably could have used in those first few games a dude like Winston Wright returning kickoffs more than running routes for us.
Big week. A couple guys that I'm wondering about. I'll speculate and talk a little bit about that in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989, with offices now in Tallahassee. Fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
When I get home from work, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas Put my pool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up the fun when I want to.
Truckloads of new and used Caldera and Hot Spring Spas are available now at Swain Pools and Spas. Don't wait. Get to Swain Pools and browse the best inventory to find the spa of your dreams. These won't last long, so come see us today. Just look for the huge sign on Tharp Street or call 386-7113 for Swain Pools and Spas.
I know what you're thinking right now. Where can I find a place to get my car fixed and also check out some awesome new hot tubs and spas while I wait? Well, you're in luck. Because when you bring your car or truck in to get serviced at Tallahassee Car Care, it's under the same roof as Swain Pools and Spas for tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, oil changes, and all the service you need to get back on the road. Choose the certified technicians at Tallahassee Car Care. Drop by our shop on Tharp Street or visit online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
It's been a while since I gave myself a real chance to meet someone new.
Susan and John are two kindred spirits who rediscovered the romance they deserve on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for singles over 50.
John is a massive foodie like me. It's been amazing to experience some of my favorite things again with someone who makes my heart beat faster. I'm so glad I got back out there.
Sign up today at silversingles.com/date. That's silversingles.com/date.
If you want to pay off high interest debt faster, it's time to refinance with American Financing, America's home for home loans. Get a free mortgage review and learn about custom loans that can save you up to $1,000 a month. If you start soon, you may close in as fast as 10 days. Call 866-886-2026. That's 866-886-2026. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Be a healthier looking and re-energized Benson this weekend. I think he could be a catalyst to this run game that we continue to talk about having to be the emphasis, really the identity of the team. And yeah, we do that. You marry that with Jordan Travis's legs and let him run more. Maybe not Saturday, but I'm just saying in general, have that be a big part of what you're doing here in these 5 games. 5 games, man. 5 games. Let's go. Let's go. You just came off a bye. Everybody's fresh. Now's not the time to be passive. I run Jordan. He's a big part of the run game. I want defenses to have to prepare for it. It opens things up for the other running backs or offensive line. Prove they can block against good defensive lines. I'm not half-stepping anymore in this run game. We are unleashing the beast for this 5-game stretch in the hopes to go 5-0. And it opens everything else up. And obviously Jordan then has an opportunity to beat you 2 ways. So I'm a big fan of that game plan. I hope that's what we see beginning Saturday, and I hope it's what we're talking about every Monday.
A healthy Trey Benson is your kick returner as well.
Well, without question. And I don't know why we continue to allow Sam McCall to return kicks. He sucks at it. I don't know who's telling him to jog, but he does every single time. It's awful. I'm tired of watching us half-step in special teams since we spent so much time practicing it and we're not good at it. It's terrible. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, that's the thing I would defend Sam McCall on, is even though I'm befuddled as to why he's returning, multiple dudes over 2 years now are jogging out of the end zone. And you're just wondering, oh, so we're just going to run 80% speed here? Is that what this is about?
See, I don't understand this. And I want to be careful because we do owe it to them to do the right thing in terms of what we say and don't say about what we witness at practice. So phrasing matters here about how I say this. I don't know that I've ever seen them. I probably can't. Nobody's telling those guys to jog.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've never heard that.
No, usually you hear
I've
something
never
along
heard
the lines of "go."
I've never heard slow
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm saying too much here.
Wait,
wait,
go.
I've
Yeah,
never heard
yeah.
any of that. So I don't believe it's being taught.
No.
So if it's not being taught, Tom, and then you witness it in a game and a guy is half stepping, would that be within seconds you'd be like, well, that's it. We can't have him back here. He's pussyfooting every time he gets the ball.
Yeah, one would think, except you rolled him back out there after he got demoted. And you're telling me that, if Benson's a little banged up and missed a couple days of practice, that is a disqualifier to everybody else on the roster. We're trying to find a job real bad for Travis J. Give him a shot there. I mean, although he was one of the guys who was jogging last year. So that's the thing, is there's a consistency with the half stepping out of the end zone. The thing that they've gotten better at this year is covering the kicks. The Shipley return excluded. They've been
bad timing.
It was a bad time.
Very bad
but
timing.
I mean, it's the only one. They've done a very good job of that. My rant is, and I'm going to pound the desk on this forevermore until I see one. What is the study that shows a coaching staff that if you catch the ball at your 1 or your 2 yard line with a standard height and hang time on a kickoff, what is the reward on your investment, the return on your investment of getting beyond the 25 yard line? If it was the 20, return them all.
Yeah.
No problem. How often out of 50 kicks do you get beyond the 25 yard line if you catch it inside your 2?
The answer currently for Florida State would have to be very little in terms of the return, because we're jogging out of the end zone. So if you're going to half step, you got zero chance to get past the 25 yard line. That happens I have to stop myself every time. It drives me bananas. And maybe we're not understanding it, but you're correct. The numbers are the numbers. You can watch this and see what's happening.
Right. And here's the thing. Last year, I'd be more okay with it because your offense is not as dynamic, right? So you need a spark. You need a short field.
Well, and they say it's a mindset, and you're trying to teach them to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And
the mindset is I'm starting at my 12 because of a hold. That's what's happening here. Like, look, we'd be talking more about it after the Clemson game if we didn't score on a 93-yard drive. After we returned one, I think it was Rector, forgive me, Wyatt, if it wasn't you, somebody was guilty of a block in the back, and it's 1st and 10 from our 7. We end up scoring a touchdown on that drive,
I know.
or else we'd be really pissed off about it. It just doesn't make sense to me, especially when your offense is much more dynamic. If you're in desperation mode, the end of a half, end of a game,
And
your
you
offense
don't have
sucks.
the means by which, yes.
If you're Iowa, return every kick.
Well,
return
you might as
every
well, because there's no chance you're going to drive the field and score.
Correct.
Yeah.
It just, I don't get, we're so analytical about 4th and 3 from the 34 to 31 yard line. And I'm agreeing with that. Where is the benefit?
Well, and Gregory, I see in the chat, you said, let Pittman do it. Look, I'm going to tell you now, I don't think Pittman's great on punt returns. He's had a couple of punt returns that you're pleased with, but he lets too many balls drop. He still lets too many balls drop. He's better than the last guy. Well, the last guy let every ball drop.
Yeah. Now, he wouldn't do that on kickoffs, and he was in the rotation in preseason.
I'm fine. I like Micah Pittman. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a knock on Micah Pittman, but I'm saying when Micah Pittman gets an opportunity in special teams, he's not great.
Yeah. He is water for a very parched throat because he will give you a return. Like, it's a thing. It exists.
Yeah.
But one of the hidden plays in that game against Clemson, when, you could use every second down the stretch, is that they're punting out of their end zone after we get stopped. They throw twice because it's just bad football. So we can't score at the 5.
Yes.
They throw twice off their goal line when they're up 20 points. Mm-hmm. And then we let the ball bounce off of their 45 and roll to our 40. When and Dominic Robinson said this is what he did. He was a college football punt returner.
Yeah.
A punt out of their end zone. Look at their 45. That's where it's going to be. He's just got to get it out of there. And you're going to point at it and let it bounce 15 yards? Jesus, man.
Yeah, no, that's
not the only time this year.
But that's my point. That's the point I'm making. I'm saying right now, we've watched it time and again. He's not great at it. He's better, but he's not great at it. So, these are things we're hoping are cleaned up as we go into the second part of these 5 games. This is not just bitch fest. This is these are things you've got to fix when you go into a bye week and you're getting healthy.
If the offense, and I get the offense held us from a couple of wins, at least one specifically in this 3-game losing stretch. But let's say the offense looked like it. Yeah, I agree. Let's say the offense looked like it did for those 3 games the whole year. We'd be talking more about special teams again. It's better in a couple areas. It is better.
Yeah.
But it's still rotten in
well, and some of those things you can't you can't help. Like special teams, if your field goal kicker goes brain dead and is scared to death and misses all of his kicks, that's not on coaching. He just unfortunately fell off a cliff.
It's not like Mastromano was kicking ass, though. That game against NC State was bad. I mean,
look, at the end of the day, when it comes to punts and or kickoffs and or field goals, extra points, you either have the dudes or you don't. That's that. The kicking situation is so different from the rest of football. It's the only thing that's eerily similar to golf. If you've lost your swing, you've lost your swing, and ain't much you're going to do about it.
But the shiny sticker they get is for kickoff coverage, even though they had one that you want back. The rest of them,
That's a pretty critical one.
But they were really bad at that last year. Really bad.
Yeah, no, they're better at it. They're better at it now. They're better at a lot of things now. It's that the point isn't just to, rail against all of these things. It's that I hope that is the stuff that is cleaned up for these 5 games, because you're going to need all of it. You're bound to be in at least 2 of the 5 games are going to be very close. They just are. We're not good enough to run away from a lot of teams. We ran away from BC, but that you're not running away from other middling ACC teams. You're not. And Miami, who looks like a train wreck right now, they're not going to lie down for Florida State. Their pride will be on the line. And now that it's a night game, they're going to play hard. God forbid we don't come out sharp. You're in a war for 4 quarters. Florida's not going to just roll over. They may give up a lot of points, but they're going to fight like hell on offense. You're going to be in close games. And all this stuff matters greatly in close games. And we're talking about the difference between a good season and a bad season and not executing in situations, red zone, and then special teams. This is the stuff that wins you football games when you're even or close across the board everywhere else. If you're hearing this right now and you or someone is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, heads up, got a chance to help you out here. My friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those that make a difference in their community. That's right. If you buy a home, he'll waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value out the gates. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for the closing, you'll save another $600. That's over $2,200 in savings. So again, a lot of money to be saved here. If you're in that mode, ready to buy, that's where you want to go. Active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, school teacher, looking to buy a new home. Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. The number, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN, or visit FSUHomeLoans.com.
Your local news now.
The Donald L. Tucker Civic Center has partnered with Paw Patrol Live to collect dog food donations for Tallahassee Big Dog Rescue, placing dogs into loving homes across the community. To help feed them, the Tucker Center is collecting canned or bag-dried food donations. Food donations may be dropped off at the box office today from 10 to 6. Those who donate can get a buy one, get one half-off ticket for Paw Patrol Live. A former Tallahassee school teacher will spend the next 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to federal child pornography charges. Mark Clow was sentenced last week to 5 years in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. He'll also have to register as a sex offender upon his release from prison. Clow, who was a teacher at Trinity Catholic, was arrested in September of 2021. He was accused of receiving, possessing, and distributing child pornography over a span of 4 years, including images of children under the age of 12. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 79 this afternoon under clear skies, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, lows around 52. Sunny skies and calm again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 80. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Friday with highs in the low 80s. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 78.
Having AC issues? Get it fixed now before that summertime heat has you singing the sweaty blues. E&B Heating and Air new customer diagnostic special for just $49.95. We sell the best and fix the rest. Call E&B Heating and Air today at 850-848-0187.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what pulls out. Planted by the law offices of Basic Brooks. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hey, Greg Tish here along with Matty Rowe. And you can listen to us Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3. Matt, we give away a couple things each week.
Just a few.
We got the Florida Farm Bureau Insurance Wheel of Food. We have Give Me a Second, where we play a second of a song and you guess that song. And we also play FLA or Nay. We have a lot of fun Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on
The Greg Tish Show.
Think that's enough?
We could talk about our feelings.
That's a lot.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Teams before Southern Cal and UCLA join in 2024. It's happening so quickly, buddy. 2024.
I just hope we get snatched up soon.
I know.
I want to be an old spinster of college football.
I know. I brought that up. I brought this up for that reason, for us to talk about it. They stuck with the East-West division format. The new schedule includes several location and date changes. Penn State will open Big Ten play on the road for the 8th consecutive year. And I can get into some of that stuff, but it got me thinking about where we end up. And somebody asked a question in the chat a while back about how much longer we'll be in this conference. I don't know the answer to that question. I like to say with some degree of certainty that it won't be too much longer, but I'm not sure about that. I do, however, think that if we are to exit the conference, which is the second part of the question, it will likely be for the SEC.
Yeah, it's got to be sooner than later, because the reconfiguration of the game in terms of the TV deals, the playoff, the payouts, all that stuff is coming in the near future. So if you don't have a new home in the next 3 to 5 years, you might not have one until this contract is done, and that's not good. So
and that's not good.
I would think 3 to 5 years is a reasonable place to put your hopes. And I don't have anything more than that. It's a hope, but we've said this since, just about when we started on these airwaves here. It feels like a get out of jail free card is coming for this program and this university. That's not scientific. That doesn't care about a grant of rights. That's a feeling, but it's just the way the game is reshaping. I think that, the collective minds are going to say, look, let's divide and conquer. It's in all of our best interest to just break down some of these barriers for ESPN, for the conferences themselves, for the total revenue generation, for everybody involved. Yeah, Syracuse is going to get screwed. Yeah, Wake is going to get screwed. Too bad. You've actually been living in a bubble for way too many years.
You got very fortunate. Yes, I agree. And the sooner that happens, the better. We could use the money. I'm ready to compete. I do think it'll be pretty interesting. I just never gave it any thought for years and years and years. And now I do find myself thinking a lot about the Saturdays in the fall. I know that, and here's what I mean by that. The idea that you and I might be still working in this business, which is a dream come true, and we feel very fortunate to be able to do it, in which every weekend, well, maybe not every weekend, but almost every weekend features a venue in which it's going to be packed and the people are going to care deeply about football, and that there's going to be a buzz in the air. Because if you're playing Ole Miss on a given weekend, followed by Tennessee, followed by Florida, followed by Georgia, listen, there's some losses coming your way. But at that point, when we've expanded the playoff to where you could lose 3 times and still get there, everybody's fine with that. Just give me interesting games every week in venues that matter.
Yep. This is we get asked this question a lot.
Yeah, we do.
About where would you rather go? And there is some fun elements to the idea
of going to the Big Ten.
Yeah. But, I live here in this town.
Correct.
And I care about this town succeeding.
Yeah,
this is my home. Tallahassee is my home. And what's better for Tallahassee? The SEC, and it's not even close. The cowbell ringers in Starkville will sell out their allotment. let alone Tennessee or Georgia or Florida.
And they will drive those uneven roads all the way down to Tallahassee.
The devilish people who have 5-night minimums will have 7-night minimums.
Sons of bitches.
And they'll get paid for them because you've got sycophants and nut jobs in the Southeast. And that's great for business here in Tallahassee.
Well, and Oklahoma and Texas are coming to the SEC to boot. So, like, yeah, I know Vandy exists in that conference barely. But short of that, if you're just talking about atmospheres and folks that travel, yeah, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, these days Kentucky, LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Texas. We can keep going. Yes, agreed. It would be fun virtually every weekend.
And no, I'll never chant SEC.
Oh, God,
ever.
no. God, no.
Ever. But I'll take their paychecks. Absolutely.
Do you think if you're Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, you worry that when this transition, not Mississippi State, sorry, Missouri and Vanderbilt, if you're Missouri and Vanderbilt, do you worry that the transition somehow features you getting an exit letter? Like you receive it's been fun, but we're going to go ahead and add Florida State and Clemson and maybe a few others.
Right. Meet us for dinner at 7:00 tonight.
We'd love to have a talk.
Why are we meeting at the Ruby Tuesday? We usually meet at the Ritz.
The Ruby Tuesday. That's a tremendous salad bar, John.
Wake, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Yeah, if that's it, right? You just opened the garage door and walked out. Oh, no.
He didn't even get to say no.
Yeah, you got the O. Next thing you know, De Niro is slamming the payphone. That's it. That's it. The fine folks at Vandy and Mizzou are getting that call. What?
Who's De Niro? Is De Niro Boston College or Syracuse?
Yeah, so Boston College is getting a call from, why is Wake Forest calling? Don't come to the meeting. Don't go to Ruby Tuesdays. But I like their salad bar. Don't go. Run. It's a bullet to the back of the head, BC. I just saw it happen to Syracuse and Wake.
I'm telling you, if I was a president of one of those universities and it comes down to a vote, let's just say that those rumors are true, that the ACC gets to a certain threshold and you can disband it. I'm trying to cut a deal. I'm BC. I'm not going anywhere. I know nothing is coming of athletic excellence outside of hockey, period. So what can you pay me for my yes vote to disband the conference?
Yes.
Because I'll take a large lump sum.
I'll take some offers.
Yeah. And then we'll go back to raising money Jesuit style. No big deal.
Oh, man, that's good. Live Spectator, yes. Tommy's not a made man. Nobody smashes a payphone quite like him. That's good. Just like nobody quite pistol whips a guy across the street like Ray Liotta.
At least in that movie, Pesci got to go peacefully. Because a casino, it's horrible.
Oh, that's a hard scene to watch.
Right.
Beaten to death with a bat in the desert.
That's what I would do to Wake. If I was trying to just,
Wake, we're going to meet out in the desert.
That's right.
Why?
Bring your brother.
Why am I bringing Boston College?
Dominic.
Oh, it's so awful.
No, Duke. No, not Duke.
Hey, a woman got eaten by a bear, I think yesterday or today. I saw this article come across my screen. I like these articles when that happens. I'm always giggling when I see these things. There's been an uptick in bear attacks. I had to ask you something. If you had to be eaten alive by an animal, who would you want it to be?
Oh.
What kind of animal do you want to be eaten alive by?
A blue whale.
No, but you're just
I want something
in there, and then they just
large enough.
Suffocated.
This is just we're done.
No, but they don't eat meat like that. They're just going along.
I'm sure its jaw is strong enough to close down and clamp down, and then that's lights
But they're
out.
not trying to.
I don't want to
be.
I'm not looking for dismemberment here. I'm looking for one fell swoop. We're done.
Like a large great white would bite you in half if he was coming up from under and just.
That's still. I could be flippy flopping around for 30 seconds, and I don't want that.
I wonder
Is there an animal that's just really good at snapping the neck?
Gorillas, here? I'm sure if they want.
There we go.
Yeah,
we wouldn't get to the eating part.
That's a toughie. That thing come running at you.
Yeah.
No. I keep thinking of these people coming around the corner, like those 3 guys in Wyoming. They're like, what is that? Is a grizzly bear. We are effed. This is not good. You have too much time. I need some, but I also don't want something toying with me.
Yeah.
Like hyenas are like in the chat. Michael, good call. You don't want a hyena, man. The strongest jaws, and they'll like break your bones, and you can be there a while.
I pissed off my cat a couple days ago because he was toying with a lizard that came in the house through the back deck, and he's toying with it. I'm like, you get the hell out of here. This lizard's going outside, dude.
Yeah.
He was furious.
Yeah, you're not toying with that thing.
I'm like, come on now, dude.
Orcas toy with things. I don't. What if an orca got you? Just throw you up in the air.
Seals do too, right? They're just like laughing.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Oh, I don't want to be. No, Timothy, we're not getting killed by a hippopotamus. Drowning, probably. They're stomping on you and stuff. They do. They stomp on their prey.
Is a lion good at just lights out?
Probably straight to the neck.
I think lions don't mess around, right? Tigers either.
Well, I don't. Part of this is the environment in which it's about to happen. So, how much time do I have to realize what horrific thing is about to happen to me? So, like, if I'm in the ocean floating and I see the fin pop up from 100 yards away and it's coming straight at you and you're at eye level, no, man, that's not good. Or it circles you. Just having a look like, oh, no, man, I don't like that. Same thing with being on the open plains, though. You know, oh, that's a tiger and it sees me and he's interested. Now I've got time to think about it. Bears just tend to pop on out, right?
Old Applesauce is the biggest Nole fan I've ever heard of him or seen.
I want to be eaten by renegade.
Well, then, Applesauce, why don't you dress up like our next 5 opponents? Because that's what's going to happen.
David writes, mountain lions. You won't hear them or see them. It'll be over in an instant.
There we go. That's a great comment.
It's a good one. Those mountain lions, though, I've seen the videos where the people like do see them. And they're like, hey, usually that's not one that was really coming there to eat you. That was just wanting you to get away. But you're right. If it is hunting you.
I looked at his avatar. It's funny. It's a message correction, and he's got Harbaugh written in the message, and it autocorrects the garbage. Not this year, though.
Oh, yeah. Horses have dull teeth. You don't want that, Applesauce. Oh my goodness. I guess I should. I mean, I realize we're between times here. I can't give you probables today. Should we break and come back and say goodbye? Yeah, I think we have to. Sorry about that, guys. Jeff Cameron Show. Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced. And while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you and thank me later.
Every day, Sellers makes life a little better for homeowners, helping them find the best design ideas for their homes with the best quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Even mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions are at their fingertips in their remarkable showroom. Maybe it's time for you to get the Sellers Advantage for your home or office. Find them on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For style, quality, and design, get the Sellers Advantage. In Tallahassee, call 656-8453.
I'm excited about fall, but I'm even more excited about the falling prices at Kohl's. I went to their friends and family sale, and not only did I save an extra 20%, I also found sweatshirts and sweatpants for under $19, cute harvest table decor for 40% off, and great fall styles starting at $23.99. Plus, I earned Kohl's Cash. So if you want more style and more savings this season, get to Kohl's. Select styles, 20% offer ends October 2nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power and your arm and leg.
Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons, unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with autopay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I got to have a big day. I have not been good. Good thing this is for charity, folks. Good thing this is for charity.
Is it?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. You know, we have been in a similar boat this year, you and I, really up and down on the wagers for college football. We both have been far more successful prior to this season. This season has been uneven at best, horrible at worst. Couple of bright spots, but for the most part, it's been tough.
I've had a strong rally specifically in prize picks. That has been what has saved my bottom line.
Well, the only thing that saved my bottom line is a bunch of money line victories in the NFL. Just grouping these 3 games or 4 games or 2-game parlays with these money line picks because, and who would have thunk it? Because I began the season, I couldn't make a pick in the NFL. Couldn't win a game.
I noticed on our pals of prize picks, because they have the games listed already, which is cool. Jordan's rushing total for this weekend was 30.5 yards. And I find that interesting because that's one play.
For him,
you scheme up one play. I don't think he's going to get sacked a ton against Georgia Tech.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
It comes down to, does he have one play where he keeps it? They all crash. It'll be 45 yards and a house call, and then you're done. Cash City.
Well, I like living in Cash City.
Halfway to it, of course.
Yeah. Let's go take a visit to Cash City, everybody. We'll take the cover bus. I'm with you. I'm ready to roll to Cash City on the cover bus, but it's been up and down, up and down. I'm going to advise you guys that tomorrow's Redemption Thursday wagers. Hopefully you're taking advantage of me, because if you have been and you're being honest about it, look, man, I'm going to be donating all kinds of non-perishable food items to a charity here locally. Probably several. I'll spread it out. And that I actually love to do, and that's fine. Looking forward to it. But I'd also like to have a great weekend. I had that 8-2 weekend. I had a 7-3 weekend, and the rest have been losing weekends.
I can't piggyback off you. I can't trust it.
No, you can't. Some of them have been, some of them have been dreadful. 1-9, 2-8. It's just been a cluster, you know what?
Last week, you thought that the slate was awesome and you could have played 25, 30 games. So I'm hoping that tomorrow you say, I only like about 3 or 4 here, folks, because that might be the key.
But let me tell you this. So on the show, I only try to come up with 10 games. They're not all my picks. Some of them are. Obviously, you hit the siren when you recognize that they are. But you want to, frankly, and I'm not telling you to do something you shouldn't do out there, but frankly, you want to bet in bulk. You want to have a lot of games. It helps mitigate some of these extreme weeks. If you have 25 to 30 games, then, you're not apt to go 5-25. That ain't going to happen. But you can go 2-8 with the quickness in a 10-game stretch.
Old P. Simpson said he's been on the poverty trolley. Now he wants to be on the cover bus.
Me too, P.
That's right.
Me too, P.
Just got to get some Delta 8 on the way. That's all.
My friends at Tallulah have helped make this football season, even all the losses, that much easier to take. I went and had a float over in Railroad Square, and I loved it. I was explaining today to the owner of Gordo's, Eddie Agramonte, about the float, and he's going to go float. I've already made money for Tallulah. They're going to go over there and float. He wants to see what it's like.
It's amazing how svelte that man is.
He's lost a lot of weight, looking good. I'm mad at myself. I haven't been this. I was due for this. I think I was due for this. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.